I do want to look at the last batch of episodes. We come back, obviously, to an episode that it's called Last Holiday. And so it feels weighted for your characters as their last holiday, not just with us, but maybe their last holiday ever. Where am I? Which you
I think you're hitting right around it.
So what do these celebrations, if that's the right word, look like?
In hindsight, I think we'll almost see that episode not only as an homage to the holidays that the boys get to go through and had to miss, but even like the bunker that's become their home. So it's a chance for the boys to kind of enjoy this home that's given them so much, and to sort of go like, all right, let's toot our own horns for just a second. You still got to get back to work, but let's go ahead and take a moment to go like it's like the last breath you take before you're about to do your final sprint or something. And so it's kind of a strangely it's kind of a serendipitous welcome back to the final 7 episodes, because it sort of is a chance of like, all right, everybody take a deep breath. Let's laugh a little bit. Let's see the boys kind of allow someone to give them some praise, and let's get work to do.
Yeah, it is a little celebratory. I think it's probably one of those rare moments in the course of the show where we get to see the boys kind of kick their shoes off and kick their feet up and pat each other on the back and, you know, cheers and say job well done. But in true Supernatural fashion, it doesn't last long.
Right.
And we got to get back to work.
There was an idea you had, maybe you and Jared both, but had for a fun standalone episode that you wouldn't necessarily write, but wanted to say to the writers, hey, maybe consider this?
Jared, myself, and Richard Spate, Jr., we went back and forth. We actually have a text thread that was just spitballing ideas. And we called it Naked Supernatural. And not because we're
not
all
clothing. Not
because we're all not because we're all
everybody's mind just went, so okay.
It was like the Naked Gun version of Supernatural. Everything is tongue in cheek. Everything is, you know, any kind of horrible joke that we could possibly fathom. It was going to be that version of an episode of Supernatural.
I'd come back to shoot it. I tell you what, if they write it and improve it,
hell yeah. And we have some pretty good ideas. I'll have to go through and find them and tell you the next time we talk. But there were enough good ideas that we all thought were like, if this wasn't the final season of the show, this would be made an episode.
I know they made me laugh out loud reading.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like that would be hilarious. It was all the stuff you talk about where you're shooting some deep and dark scene where I think it was during Spate's episode where like killing Loki or whatever. And it's like, wouldn't this be funny if blah, 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 blah. And sure enough, we'd all bust out laughing and be like, okay, and get to your marks. You're like, oh shit.
We did and I believe this was one of the ideas that we had, and we actually did it as a goof, and it'll probably be on the last episode's blooper reel. But there's a big battle scene, and in rehearsal, or no, it was on camera. Jared literally just looks at me and just like gives me the nod, and I didn't really even know what that meant until he immediately just went, I was like, oh, we're going super slow-mo. And we did the entire fight in super, super slow-mo, and the crew members are just falling over, folded laughing. And it was, you know.
But one of the things about doing stunt fights on camera is that if you fight at the same speed you would fight in real life, you can't see anything. And nothing. We have things called like quarter speed, half speed. It's like, that's a little fast also. Do a quarter speed. We're like, okay. And so we do quarter speed, and they're like, slow down a little bit further. And so I just looked at Jensen and I was like, he knows. And so sure enough.
Now, fun fact for you on that, there was, I forget what episode it was, where Sam and Dean are fighting each other in the Men of Letters, and Dean throws Sam off the balcony. That particular fight scene, the camera guy couldn't get over just because of the way the set was situated.
Yeah.
To where my punch was not selling, as it didn't look like it was hitting him. There was air. And so I said, okay, I was like, watch this. And I actually slowed it down and literally connected with Jared, and he goes, "Wah!" And then they just sped it up in post. So it looks like I actually hit him.
We didn't have a next season. And so we knew we were coming back for those episodes that we had been preparing for about a month or two. So it was nice to know that there was a carrot at the end of the stick and that we get back to go visit Sam and Dean Winchester again.
As you were up there shooting the regular production season, then COVID hits, you go home.
Yeah.
Now you go back for those 6 weeks uninterrupted. Have you guys had to kind of reevaluate saying goodbye? Are you finding, did you have to like get into this mind state of, wow, it's over again?
I don't know what this says about me, but I was dreading the goodbye in March. Not because I didn't want to say goodbye, but just I'm not good with goodbyes. I just don't like saying goodbye, and I hope you have a great life. I don't like that. And so the fact that it got put off, I was almost a little relieved, knowing that it would have to come at some point. When we came back, it was like you couldn't hug and you couldn't touch each other and you couldn't be within 6 feet, and there were masks, and so you couldn't see smiles, and it was almost like this weird diet version of saying goodbye that for me, I was like, good, I didn't want to say goodbye anyway. I often say, when the people that do like to sit in that goodbye, be like, no, it's okay to say goodbye, and it's okay. I felt like it was, I was saying, we'll see you later. I'll see you when this pandemic's over. I'll see you when there's not a mask on your face. I'll see you when I'm able to hug you, and I'll see you when I'm able to properly embrace you and say thank you for so many years. So I won't say goodbye right now. I'll just say, see you when I can see you.
Yeah, I think similar for me. And I feel like trying again, find a silver lining, this horrible pandemic we've dealt with. It's sort of taught me a bit brutally, like, hey, things aren't going to work out exactly the way they're supposed to. Things aren't going to be exactly the way you thought or you'd like or you'd wish. Make the most of it. And so I think a lot of my mindset for the last 6 weeks has been just make the most of it. It's obviously less than ideal, like Jensen touched on, with people wearing masks, and we were joking. When we would walk off set, we had one way we could walk onto set and one way to walk off, like COVID regulations. And so when we'd walk off set, like I think he and I both felt like the stereotypical sort of like ass actor, like all the crew would start, like the sea would part. Like, hey, like these people we hug, we're like, oh yeah, they're not running from us because they don't want to see us or because we've told the producer, like, don't let them look in our eyes. It was like, these are our friends. They have to answer to their bosses. They don't want them within 10 feet of us. So you're yelling from your little tape mark on your way to your trailer, like, hey, how's it going? How's quarantine? Good to see you. You got a new tattoo, blah, blah. So that was difficult, but we made the most of it. And we got to kind of spend, like Jensen said, like we didn't really say goodbye to anybody. We said, see you later. And we've both been around long enough to know that whether or not we do make it to Vancouver again or somebody makes it to Austin, it really was goodbye to a lot of people. There are certainly people we'll see again. But we've all been around different sets long enough where you're like, oh my God, I've loved you guys intimately for a month on a little movie or 2 months on a bigger movie or whatever the case is. It's like, I can't wait to see you again. And here you are 20 years later, you haven't seen him again. So I understand that it was goodbye to a lot of people. But I understand that I will see a lot of the other ones again. And now we're all getting used to Zoom and FaceTime, and we can easily at least see each other's faces, albeit from afar. So just trying to keep our heads up about it.
I will say, Matt, I'll add to that real quick, that the one goodbye that I know Jared and I both had to deal with was the goodbye to the Winchester brothers. That was felt.
Yeah.
That was really heavy. And you'll see it reflected in the episode.
Yeah.
The emotion of it anyway. Because there's certainly parts of the final episode where the character and the human being playing that character, their emotions are very intertwined.
Jensen Ackles here.
And Jared Padalecki.
On our last and final day shooting Supernatural.
Our last shot, as a matter of fact.
That's right. We just wanted to thank you for being with us for 15 years now, and it's been a great pleasure and an honor to have you supporting us all these years.
With COVID situation and all the safety protocols and things that you guys are having to deal with, what was that last moment like with whatever goodbye you could say to the crew?
Yeah, that was a funny day. We were up in the GVRD up in Vancouver, and there's no cell phone service there. And so it wasn't like a classic day where you're FaceTiming your wife and talking to the kids and helping them get down to bed or telling them to eat their dinner or checking in with friends and family and all that. It was like, okay, well, now I'm halfway to set and I'm about to have 20 minutes into a place that has no cell phone service. And so it kind of forced you to be present, even though so much of you wants to distract yourself and be like, this isn't happening. I'm going to call my kids. Hey guys. And you're like, I see my kids. They're smiling. They're excited. It was really forcing us to be there. And the final, that's a wrap. It didn't happen immediately. It wasn't like the scene was over and it was, okay, cut, check the gate. That's a wrap. Bob, who directed the finale, walked over to us, and a lot of the other crew walked up, and he kind of looked around, and he kind of took his moment, and we all kind of took a moment. He's like, okay, well, that's a wrap. And it was pretty, like, I get a little warm in my throat even talking about it. Yeah, I had cried a lot of tears in the literally 7 months since I had read the scripts, the last 2 scripts, because we got them in either late January or February. So I'd had my chance to cry my tears. I'm glad I did, because that last day, though it was bittersweet, it was more sweet than bitter, because I was like, okay, I got the sadness out to some degree. I'm sure it'll come again. But selfishly, I was like, man, I can look around and smile. And there were a lot of tears all over. But Ackles and I were kind of looking at each other like, man, it's like finishing the Seattle Marathon or whatever. It's like, okay, we did it. Dude, we did it. We put in the work. It wasn't like, hey, we're famous, or hey, we have, this many followers. It was like, hey, I've been with you for 15 and a half years. I've seen you sweat. I've seen you bleed. I've seen you hurt. I've seen you going through stuff personally and put it aside for this show, for your character. And I know I've done the same. And it was bittersweet, but it was sweet, man. It was happy. It felt like I could do this again. Can we do another 15 seasons? Let's call Peter Roth and Mark Pedowitz and see if they'll re-up us for 15 more.
There was certainly a satisfaction, I think, that occurred of we did it.
Yeah.
We did it. It was definitely an emotional high five moment.
Congratulations in completing the unthinkable task, to bring a show, to birth a show, to carry out a show at a high level for a long time, and to complete a show at a high level for a long time while maintaining who you guys are. Tease me with something in the final episodes for the fans. Are they going to see a cliffhanger? Are they going to see a period to the end of things? Give me a little something for the fans to grab onto.
To tease the finale, it is supernatural. So as you know, it's always a cliffhanger. No matter how it ends, that cliff is hanging. Beyond that, episode 19 is more like the season finale of season 15. Episode 20 is like the series finale. And so like any good series finale, in my opinion, it pays homage to the beginnings. And so Jensen and I worked in a few, so the writers did on their own, but he and I also worked in a few little homages to those out there who have been around since the get, and who are familiar with the canon and lore and history of Supernatural. So there are a few little Easter eggs in there.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to reveal, because especially the one at the end. Those that know will pick up on it.
Oh yeah.
We'll just think it's normal. And that was all Jared. He said, hey, I got an idea. And I was like, oh, of course we're doing that.
Yeah.
So there was, the final episode, there's some Easter eggs that are laid in there for the hardcore fans for sure. And it's also, I'll say this, it's really nice to see the brothers doing what they are so good at.
For the long-time fans, keep an eye out. There are a lot of homages. Yeah. We end the way we began to some degree.
Yeah.
We end the way we began to some degree.
Yeah.
Families have been part of this schedule, this structure, this existence for Jared and Jensen. You being tired, you hopping on planes, you hopping off planes, us going to these conventions. Yeah. That all doesn't exist anymore. How are the families dealing with this? The kids, the wives, When are you going to let your kids watch the show? Have they seen any scenes? And do they have any idea how big it is?
You know, if it's not Paw Patrol, then my kids aren't interested anyways. They know I work with Uncle Jensen. They know we play pretend. Jensen and I both have had instances where we pick up a FaceTime from our wives, and it's one of the kids, and we happen to have blood or something, and they're like, "Why are you hurt? Why are you bleeding?" You're like, "It's not real. It's with Uncle Jensen. Look, Uncle Jensen, touch it." So I think Jen is excited to have her less than stellar assistant back in Austin to take out the garbage and walk around.
This was recently.
Yeah. So I think I know Odette, who's 3.5 now. She keeps going, "Dad, are you coming back at Austin, Texas today?" I'm like, "Not today, baby girl." "Okay, tomorrow. I see you at Austin tomorrow." I'm like, but it was also the build up to our final day of Supernatural was so sad that, you know, hopping on FaceTime with Jen and the kids and going like, "This is what I'm getting back to," was a nice way to, you know, keep the tears at bay when all I want to do was cry and say goodbye to Sam Winchester and Supernatural. So they're excited. You know, I think Jen's excited to have me help run around and play basketball with kids and baseball and soccer or whatever, chase lizards, pick the chicken eggs and all that. I can't wait. I'll be home in a couple of days. I got to just drive across country, take my time, say goodbye.
I have to talk about the post-Supernatural moment for you both, because as much as I'm heartbroken to not be your dad in the past and see you guys as Sam and Dean, I am thrilled for your futures. I think these moves are incredible. Jared, I'm talking about Walker, and the new news that our lovely Genevieve Padalecki is joining you as your on-screen wife, and Jensen, you playing kind of this original Captain America-like superhero on The Boys. Talk to me about both of these projects.
Okay, I'll start. It just got announced that Jen is going to be playing my dead wife on Walker, which is cool. So we'll be in Austin together and getting to work together again. How we met on
missed opportunity.
I get to pretend. So Jensen and I have already gotten to pretend to kill my wife, and now I get to deal with her as dead. No, but she gets to be in the show, which is amazing. She's such a big part of the show anyways, whether she was on screen with me or not. That'll be fun to work with her again and to work in Austin. I haven't worked in Austin since 2008, but to sleep in bed at home and to be a part of my kids' Zoom classes, I guess, before I go to work or whenever I get home or whatever the schedule's gonna be like.
When the commute doesn't involve an aircraft, it's always nice.
Yes, exactly. As you well know too, Matt. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to tell the story. We're really proud of the stories we have and the themes we're kind of dealing with. And so, you know, I didn't want to, and I said this before publicly, like I didn't want to work after Supernatural. I was like, I'm done, man. Like I'll get a phone call from a buddy and go do a show. Hopefully that seems kind of arrogant. Like I'll accept phone calls, but I meant like, I didn't want to go seek work. And then this storyline came up and the cast of characters kind of started getting built. And I was like, oh man, I'm ready to jump back in the pool if they'll have me, you know? So to be a part of developing it and producing it and creating it has been really special and new ground. I'm thrilled. And my love for my new project, I want to stress this, does not in any way detract from my love and gratitude for the project we all just finished together.
Well said. Jensen, what do you got, buddy?
I've been a fan of the show since I saw the first episode. So when I was talking to Kripke over the quarantine break, I just basically mentioned, I'm like, hey, somebody's going to be unemployed pretty soon. What's happening over there in your world? and that kind of started the conversation. And he called me the next day. He's like, look, there is a role coming up in season 3 that he's like, I could see you throwing your hat in the ring for. And I was like, okay. And I will stress this, that this wasn't a Kripke calling me and like, hey, now that you're available, I got something for you, come on over. And that was it. They were already out to like some heavy hitters and guys that I was like, I can't compete with that. Like, what are you? And so I had to fight for it. And I'm glad I did, because like I said, I'm a fan of the show. I think they're doing really cool stuff over there. It's it's kind of next level stuff. I talked to Phil Segretia, who obviously was with us on Supernatural for so many years, he's over there doing really great stuff. He's directing, he's producing, he's post-producing. And so he was telling me, he's like, get strapped in, pal, because this is a different kind of beast. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see just a different house. Go visit somebody else's house for a change. I will of course miss the one that we built for 15 years, but I think this will be a fun move and an exciting move. And like I said, there's still familiar faces over there, so I won't be completely fish out of water, but I'm excited to put on a superhero outfit too. That's kick-ass. I actually have to go. I actually have to be in LA for the next couple of months because it takes that long to build it. So it's like every 2 weeks you got to go in for a fitting, and they build and build and build, and these things are like works of art. So I'm excited for that. It's it'll be cool. Finally, something that my 3-year-old son can be really proud of, because a flannel shirt and some boots are not the coolest thing to a 3-year-old, but a guy with a mask and a shield
and a 12-pack of superhero costume abs or whatever, you're gonna look like Matt Cohen.
Those are real, Jared. Those are real. Mm-hmm.
Jared, I hear that you used to be neighbors with one of our hosts. Do you remember?
Of course I do. I didn't want to push it, but I do remember Miss Anaba. And
yes, Jared.
hi.
Hi, good to see you again. It's been a while.
Nice to see you again. It has been a while. I remember, so I was 19 when I moved up the block from Casa Vega on Fulton.
Yep.
And I was fresh out of Texas. I was on Gilmore Girls. And I had friends who... I'm hearing Jensen's kids.
Yeah, I think we can hear.
We can, okay, yeah, we were neighbors, like we were right across, like our doors open to each other. And when you moved in, it was like, oh my God, it's a hot guy in our building because, hot guy in the building because our building had kind of older people, didn't it? Remember?
Yeah, I'm aware. By the way, that's what I was going to say, is that when my friends would come from Texas, they'd be like, dude, like, you got a hot neighbor. I'd be like, I know, I'm on TV.
I love it. Oh my God. No, you were the hot neighbor, trust me. Anyway, wait, so Jensen is frozen right now, but can we hear Jensen? Okay, we're gonna reset Jensen, so we're gonna just keep talking to you, Jared.
Yes, well, I'll take it. Well,
let me ask this. After 15 years, you recently shot the final episodes of Supernatural. So how emotional was that last day?
It was the last day wasn't as emotional as I would have thought, but the days and weeks and months because of COVID leading up to that were very emotional. So I'm an emotional guy. I'm a Cancer, and I'm in touch with my feelings, and I'm very proud of that. But I think I got a lot of it out during the quarantine. And so when the last day happened, something unique happened that I didn't expect. I expected to cry and, towels and this and that. But I just felt proud. I looked around at Jensen and at our other cast and crew and just felt like, cool, we did it, for 15 and a half years, since 2005. I don't know if I really ever patted myself on the back or ourselves on the back. It was more like we still had a job to do. So I think that last day was sort of like, okay, it's done. We crossed the finish line. Let's celebrate now. So it was a long time waiting, but it was
amazing.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, over the 15 years, the two of you have become super close. And Jared, was there a moment when you knew you had a brother for life in Jensen?
Yeah, no doubt. We met early on, and he's a Texas boy. I'm a Texas boy, and we I think our first meeting was sort of like, hey, I'm Jared. Hey, I'm Jensen. Where are you from? Texas. Where are you from? Texas. Who's your team? Cowboys. Who's your team? Cowboys. And so it just sort of like, those are the two most important things in life is where are you from and what NFL team do you follow, at least for Texas dudes. But then I think about, we finished a pilot and about about 2 weeks into filming our series, we got jumped by a bunch of guys, and that was sort of the moment that you go, all right, you look over, you see somebody, coming to your rescue, and vice versa, and you go, all right, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody, but that was certainly, we shared blood together, and I was like, all right, well, when I was supposed to get my butt kicked, like he was there for me, and vice versa. So I think that was a pretty special time.
That's right. So you two have matching tattoos. The first question, how did that come about? And second question, can you show them to me?
Okay, well.
What are the tattoos?
How'd you get the two? And can you show them? Oh.
Oh, cool.
What
It's a. Is it me?
Yes, it's just you out there.
It's a Basquiat crown, Jean-Michel Basquiat, and it meant many things. He never really spoke on it directly, but for me, I love the Shakespeare quote, "Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown." So it's sort of a reminder that there are high times and low times, but that's part of life. But Jensen officiated at our on-screen father, Jeffrey D. Morgan, who's a badass and a rock star and a movie star. But at his wedding, Jensen was the officiant, and I think Jeff ended the wedding going like, "All right, well, dance floor's over there, food's over there. If you want a tattoo, go to the bar." And everybody laughed. And he's like, "No, I'm not kidding. Like, there's a tattoo artist over there." And so I think that was great. But I think the tattoo artist probably did, 70 or 80 tattoos that night. And so Jeff and Jensen and I, the three Winchesters, went and got the same Basquiat crown. Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm seeing that.
Very cool. Wow. Very cool. So I have to ask, you two were actually roommates at one point. Now, what did you learn about Jensen?
What I learned about Jensen is I think one of the most, so I'm I'm here in my home in Austin. My wives and kids and dogs are running around, and we have chickens and ducks and bunnies and honeybees and a garden. I'm a pretty low-key guy, other than checking out my hot neighbor at Fulton. I'm a pretty boring fella. So it was wonderful because Jensen and I would work these, 14-hour days, 18-hour days, and just be miserably tired. And, first thing in the morning, have to wake up and go to work again. But I think what surprised me, and I'd known him at the time, it was season 4 of the show, so I'd known him for years. We had been through a lot together. But I was excited because I don't know if we ever once in all those months or year and a half, whatever it was, talked about the show at home. It was sort of like, all right, we're home. We're Jared and Jensen now. We're not Dean and Sam now. We're not shooting Supernatural. We're watching the Cowboys. We're playing guitar. We're working out. We're doing whatever, cooking steaks or anything. And so it was sort of a, selfishly for me, it was kind of a pat on the back. I was like, okay, cool. You can do something in this industry, in this business, and just kind of be normal when they call cut.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
That was,
oh my
thank
God.
you.
And Jensen, are you back? Jensen, are you here? Have you finally joined the party?
Yes.
Yay, it's so great to see you. Okay, so do we have a question or do we have to go to break? I just want to figure out what we should do here because it was a long time getting to you, Jensen, but we're going to go to break and we're going to come back.
I just wanted to show up for the break.
Okay. All right. Perfect. We're getting the scoop on the final episodes of Supernatural from now, Jensen and Jared, when we come right back. So stay tuned. They'll both be here.
That was a clip of tomorrow night's premiere of Supernatural, and we are back with our favorite demon fighters, Jensen and Jared. So There are 7 more episodes before you say goodbye. So, Jensen, what are the Winchester brothers up against?
Apparently some old pipes, which may prove to be their biggest foe yet. It starts to get ramped up. You know, we're not just coming to the end of a season; we're coming to the end of a series. So the stories and the characters and all of the stuff that's been building now for 15 years is all going to start to come to a head. And you're going to see some familiar faces. You're going to see some familiar foes, and I think it's a really great way to kind of amp everything up for the finale.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Love it. All right. Well, we want to find out just how much you guys know about each other after playing brothers for 15 years. So, do you guys have the paddles that we sent you? Grab your paddles.
Indeed.
Let's see them. Okay.
I do.
It's time to play. Very good. It's time to play Know Your Bro. Woo! Yes. Okay, here we go. I'll go first. Which bro has the better dance moves? Dun, 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 dun. Hello? You guys you both said yourself. Really?
Okay, I'm next. Which bro
I did an entire tap dance on the show.
There you go. Jared wins the tiebreaker.
Listen, I picked dance lessons also. Listen, give me crip walk.
It doesn't show.
I'll do it right now.
Which
Carrie Ann,
bro?
let me out.
Here's my turn. Which bro has the better style?
Okay. Okay. Which bro has the messier dressing room?
Dressing room?
Yeah.
No, sir. No, sir. I hang my wardrobe every day.
Okay, I'm next.
Which bro is more likely to forget his wedding anniversary?
Ooh. That's fair. That's fair.
Hey,
Okay.
I will say this: we are both that's specific. We're both really good at that. Our wives are our rocks. So that's
We love hearing that.
We don't get a choice.
Good answer.
yeah. Plus they're both Italian, so they'll beat us up.
That's right.
So,
you guys know what to do. Okay, last question. Which bro holds his liquor better? Oh, yeah! Jensen won! All right. Jensen and Jared, it's so great to have you both here. The final episodes of Supernatural kick off tomorrow night at 8, 7 Central on the CW. We'll be right back. Good to see you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations.